Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about a very important function in Python, and that is the input function. Now, so far we've talked about, the print function, which is pretty much something like this. We go and print something, we say hello world, and we have talked about a lot of different ways that you can print stuff. We concatenate it and all that stuff. Again, a lot of different things you can do with the print function, right? But the problem with the print is that obviously this is not a program. It's just like something that, you tell the computer to write something and it's going to just spit it out and you're done. It doesn't really do anything. So what if you want to receive information from the user? And this is where the input function comes in. The idea with the input function is that you can ask the user to input something, right? And it is pretty much very, very similar to the print function. It's just a difference in the function name. So we're going to say input, right? So there you go, input. And same thing, we're going to open a parentheses and we're going to say the prompt of that. Now, if you look at the, the guide here that the Replit provides, if you see, it says input and then we got the prompt. So that is basically the question. So we said, please enter your name. There you go. So if I run this, if you take a look, it's going to ask me, please, and well, let me just save this first. There we go. And then if I actually run this, it's going to say, please enter your name. So I'm just going to say Sean. There you go. That is the end of the program. So the idea with the input function is that it pauses the program to get data or input from the user. So that's why we have an input function, So that's the whole point. Now, you can do a lot of interesting stuff with input function. And I'm going to talk more about it later on when we get to variables, because that's where it gets really, really even more cooler. But, let's say we want to print, we want to ask user's name or someone's name and then say hello name. How do we do that? This is where we actually can mix two or multiple functions, and this is how we do print and input. So I'm just going to say print, right? So we start our function, we get print because we're going to print something at the end, right? So we're going to say hello, or there you go, hello. And then I'm going to add a space, obviously, because I wanted to, just have this space when we enter the name. I'm going to say plus. Again, this is where we talk about concatenations. Then we talked about it in previous videos, right? Like string manipulation. And, we got the hello, which is what we want to start the sentence with. And then we're going to say input. So you can actually add a function inside the print function itself. So we're going to say input, what is your name? Oh, actually, let's make sure it's in a string. So what is your name? Here we go. And the parentheses closed. And I'm going to add another one. I'm going to say, let's say just add a exclamation sign. So basically what's going to happen is that when we run this code, okay, this code is going to first ask for the input, which is what is your name, and then when it receives this information, whatever this information is, it's going to put it right here in front of the hello. So it's going to say hello Sean and then exclamation sign. So again, it's pretty much like this thing that we did here. If you remember in the previous sections, in the previous video, we said hello, and then we had a plus, and concatenated it, and then say, Sean or something like that. So if you remember, we pretty much did this, right? So now in this case, instead of just having the string right here, what we're doing is that we're asking the user to enter this particular string. And the way we did this is by adding input. Instead of just this, we replace it with this. See guys, very simple, So just like that, we are asking user to enter the name and say hello name. So let's run this. All right, let's save this real quick and run it. And right now what this is going to do is that ask what is your name. I'm going to say Sean, and it's going to say hello Sean. I actually added a space, but you get the point. So here we go. Let's actually run it one more time. I'm going to say Sean, and it's gonna say hello Sean. I don't like the way it looks because there's like these two are way too close to each other, so I'm just gonna add a space here. All right, so let's actually clear this out. Well, let's just run it. Here we go. So I'm just gonna, there you go. So now it looks better, right? So I'm just gonna say Sean, and it's gonna say hello Sean. So just like that, guys, we received information from the user and we put it in the another function essentially. So this is one of the things you can do with the input function, and it is again very simple, and later on we're going to expand on this, but I want you guys to practice this because it's very important. So one of the things I want to do is actually I want to put it in the funny, because I want to actually show you how this thing works. So let's put it right here. Let's run it first. So it's going to say, what is your name? And then I'm going to say Sean again, and then it's going to say hello Sean, right? It's pretty much same thing that we saw here. But I'm actually going to debug this. So if you debug this and step into it, it's going to explain exactly how this code runs. So the first thing is that it looks at the entire code, right? So it looks at whatever that we have inside this print function, right? Anything that we got here, right? So I see it, if we take a look at it, it is highlighted. So that means it's looking at what is inside here. So the next section is gonna go back and take a look at the beginning of the sentence, beginning of this contents of this function, and it's gonna say hello. And the next one is gonna go into this input function and say, oh, okay, there's an input there, okay. And then it's gonna see what is the prompt for that input. That is the question, right? And then it's gonna, ask that from the user, which again, that's basically what's happening here, right? It's gonna ask for the user, what is your name? And then when the user enters it, it's gonna replace it with Sean. See guys, see what happened? It literally replaced that with the whatever I just entered. So that's pretty much how it works, and it's just gonna print hello Sean. So that is pretty much how this whole thing goes, guys. Again, really nothing complicated here, and easy to follow. But again, sometimes putting the code in Thunny actually helps you to understand it better. But yeah, we're gonna expand on this later on. I just want you to practice right now. So what I want you to do in the next video, in the next lesson, I'll have like a couple of, it's really simple practice that I want you to put to use. So we'll go over it right now. And when you're proficient with the input function and also the print and input function, we're gonna go and do our final lesson, basically the final concept that we want to talk about in this lesson. All right, guys, or in this section. Let me know if you have any questions about this, guys. I'll see you in the next one.